I'm Bill Hoverston, an actor, writer, producer, stand-up comedian, and the host of But You're Not Funny, a podcast for young at heart boomers and boomers-to-be looking to live happier and healthier lives. This is But You're Not Funny, and my guests today are Wally and Tanya Bagot, creators of a system of personal self-protection called the Boundaries WAP program. That's WAP for Workshop for Assault Prevention. And they're going to explain what it's all about and how you can avoid some sticky situations and always use protection in all areas of your life. So, you're both award-winning choreographers, dancers, actors, writers, and martial arts masters. Probably marital arts too. You switch those two letters and you get from martial to marital.
Yeah. Got it.
You've also been doing experiential therapy, role-playing, psychodrama therapy in New York and LA, designed to help those who are recovering from childhood and adult trauma, abuse, and chronic self-worth issues. Did I get that pretty much?
That's great. Perfect.
Tanya, I wanted to start with you. Early on, you gained notoriety when you appeared on Broadway. You originated the role of Hava.
Yes.
In Fiddler on the Roof. Directed by Jerome Robbins, it was the first musical theater run in history to hit more than 3,000 performances, and it won 9 Tony Awards. Now, Tanya, part of a trio, you were singing Matchmaker, Matchmaker, Make Me a Match, about or to B. Arthur.
Yes.
And I got the funniest text from you. It was a parody clip of a woman singing, Mask Maker, Mask Maker, make me a mask, because of COVID and all.
Yeah.
Can I put you totally on the spot? Could you sing a line or two?
No.
Okay, fair enough. You've earned a rest there.
It's amazing, Bill. Fiddler is done all over the world.
Yes.
It represents unity.
Right.
It's something tradition. We all want tradition.
And then you worked with Jerome Robbins on other productions too.
Yeah, I did West Side. I went in, I was understudying anybody's. I started taking dance when I was 4 years old, and it's become my life.
We were working in a dance studio where they were teaching this martial art, Chinese martial art that was fascinating. And that developed into the art that we both practice, in which we're both masters, and that we developed the WAP Boundaries Workshop. It's all connected with dance and martial arts, using those therapeutically as well as in a more life pragmatic way. I'm really proud of you. You were a great WAP participant.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
One of the shows that we won Best Choreography for was called Tracers.
It's specifically about Vietnam, guys in Vietnam.
And they're real.
They even did it for the Queen of England.
Yeah, we won all kinds of awards. And all of the dancers, all the actors were vet. And they actually were in Vietnam. But they did a number that was choreographed. It was all Kung Fu, all Wally's martial arts. We won Best Choreography. They were doing WAP.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Wally, I wanted to just touch on your background too.
I had come to Los Angeles to become an overnight acting success.
Everybody does.
Yeah. And along the way, I suddenly realized I was totally in love with dancing. I was doing every day, spending all my money for all the classes I could take, until she finally suggested that, why don't we just hang out and go out together instead, and I could stop paying for classes, and then later on we got married. And to this day, I still take her class. And you and I are in class together at times.
Yes.
God, I'm telling you so much about your private life.
And you're a dancer too.
I know, and you're a dancer.
Sure.
So I had done a lot of theater in Los Angeles. I got so frustrated trying to get work that I decided to write work for myself.
Yeah.
So I wrote a play, which you've been to readings of, that opened some doors for me. My wife, my teacher, my partner and collaborator in every single project we've done since we've been together. We've done productions of Fiddler on the Roof, West Side Story, Tracers.
You know, when you're in a show, that becomes your family. And Fiddler, Hal Prince, is like my surrogate father and Wally's. He was with us in all of our projects and trying to push it. Like with Flatball Change, because he knew Timmy, my brother.
Right.
Read the play, flipped on it, got it to Rob Marshall.
He's the guy that directed the film version of Chicago, A-list director.
Brilliant.
He got it to perhaps one of my favorite living directors in the world, Pedro Almodovar, the Spanish director.
Yeah.
He really loves it.
Yeah.
So
just waiting to get things, but I love the way Hal would go, okay, get on the phone, you know, in his office at Rockefeller Plaza. I mean, these projects, we just keep faith. They will be done. They're brilliant. And the play Elevator Music, Ed Asner wants to do as a film, but things will happen as long as we all keep our health and faith.
You know, Ed Asner was considering the role of my father in the short film I produced, Mother's Day Memories.
Oh,
I
wow.
think you told me that. Yeah.
He was right on the edge and didn't, but Conrad Bachman did an incredible job, and it's been picking up some awards at some festivals. So yeah, that's cool. Hey,
we're all in the same world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh God.
That is crazy.
And I love that you're writers and we're actors and we're martial artists and podcast legends right here sitting.
Dancers.
And dancers.
And dancers, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
And I love taking your class too, Tanya. So, Wally and Tanya, I'm honored to have you here on the show. I've known you for several years, and I've taken the Boundaries WAP program from both of you. Now, that class was, for me, such a confidence builder. And I saw amazing transformations in the other students as well. Can you give us, first of all, just a brief feel for what this is about?
It's a program for people to learn defending themselves, diffusing possible assaults. And it's also a way of reinforcing personal boundaries. Anybody can learn. People of any age. I mean, children that are preschool, people in their 80s. We've had people in wheelchairs, people with strokes, and then just regular people.
The boundaries part, if somebody's getting too close to you physically, you provide a way to set those boundaries and maintain them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's an exercise we do called the Drunk Uncle Harry. You give a party and your drunk Uncle Harry, loaded out of his mind, leans on me. It's inappropriate. So what is my boundary? I don't want to hurt him. So I would turn away from him.
Right.
And walk away.
Right.
Goes further and is hanging on me and becoming inappropriate. I have learned techniques that I can reach behind him and take him to the floor.
These techniques could be used to injure somebody. You control the situation and you choose not to cause injury. Personal self-protection.
Yeah.
To work under so many actual real life circumstances. This is not something where you have to go to a dojo and put on a gi. It's the knowledge and it's the self-confidence that comes along with it.
You're learning a tool to take care of your life. So another thing we developed was how to draw a map of the home I live in.
Right.
I know every room in there. I know every exit. I know where every piece of furniture is. And if somebody comes in, I know it and I can turn the lights out and get the hell out of there.
And we go into the world using those same techniques at your place of work, in your home, on the street. We give these techniques and then we have people use them in all of those situations.
And the great thing is, guys, we're going to share this with our audience today. So that's very exciting. Now,
Yes.
I wanted to mention, since we all know people in the entertainment industry, a few folks, I just have to share this with you. Last year, I got a hit in Hollywood.
What? Oh, wow.
Actually, sorry, let me rephrase. I got hit in Hollywood by a car when I was crossing a street. It hit me just below the knee, breaking the bone. My head shattered the windshield. I spun up in the air and came down on the street.
What?
Well, I was on video of that. That was.
I wish someone had recorded it, not for insurance though, Wally, but for my demo reel. I could start a career as a stuntman.
Yeah.
So the ambulance picks me up to take me to the ER. Now, on the way, I get my phone, I call my wife. I'm trying not to worry her. And I say, I had an accident. I'm on my way to the hospital. Hopefully I'll be out before too soon. And she says, stop talking. I can't hear you. Wait until the ambulance passes. Yeah. I said, I'm in the ambulance.
Oh, no.
If coming from Hollywood didn't make me feel like enough of a celebrity, there was the celebrity price on the ambulance trip. That little trip cost $1,600.
Holy shit.
What?
Could have taken an Uber, right?
Yeah.
They literally charged me an arm and a leg.
Oh, shit.
So they wheel me into the ER. Now there's a dozen people standing over my bed, looking down at me and pulling off my pants. Sexy right now. It's a hospital. So
Yeah.
CAT scan, they find I don't have any cats. They x-ray me till I'm cooked medium rare.
Great.
They say I broke this bone, the fibula, just below the knee. No fib. But at least I can laugh since they didn't break my funny bone. Then the cops bring in a woman who's screaming obscenities. They've just arrested her, and they put her in the bed next to mine. And then when she's medically released, they take her away for booking. So she got a booking in Hollywood.
Okay, Bill.
Almost as good as a hit in Hollywood. Well, they send me home with a heart monitor taped to my chest. Guys ever wear a heart monitor?
Yeah.
You know how annoying those things can be. So I had this idea. At one point, I just said, forget it. I'm going to take it off of me, strap it onto the dog. So that I can imagine the doctor calling me and going, Bill, your heartbeat is very unusual. That was my big break.
Great break, Bill. Great
And I
break.
learned some things about Hollywood. When they say a car will pick you up, make sure you're inside the car. If they say you're going to be in the cast, make sure it's not a leg cast. And when they say break a leg, don't take it literally.
No.
Well, guys, Wally and Tanya, I'm guessing that you don't teach people how to fight off a speeding car.
Yeah. The thing with the speeding car is the awareness that starts happening. You become aware of everything that is around you.
Yeah.
Crossing a street, I almost have surrounding vision. So
Right.
I can see different things coming. When I'm walking and I have the instinct that something isn't right, something is following, I can start to look if I'm on the street in every window around me, every store window, and I can see what's behind me. I'll look, get on my phone if I need to.
That's a very good example. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not observant, and you're, say, just walking close to a wall and there's a blind alley coming up in front of you, somebody's going to be able to step right out in front of you and be in your face.
Even if I'm close up, I can take him out. I know how to take him out. I move forward. I do not run away from him. Do not let him pull me. And I move into him, like I trip him up.
We always move toward. We don't step back from it.
Because that way you have control.
You have your balance and you're taking theirs. And then you have a variety of choices what to do beyond there. You could just put one hand out as you're moving into them, moves them completely out of the way with really very little effort on your part, except to keep walking.
Suppose you got a little farther down the street safely and you come up to an ATM. Could you describe, Tanya, what you would do if there was somebody that grabbed you from behind?
At the ATM, I would just settle my weight, take the panic that I get, move back into him, turn. I never move away from him, turn. I can take that person down, break his ankle, and stop him from running after me, walk away, not looking away from him, grab my phone. If I don't have a phone, start screaming for the police.
Right.
Let me give some specific little accents to that.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to use a French accent? Accent français.
I should use an accent américain. Anyway, so here's the deal. The guy grabs, and as she steps back, she just brings her elbow, perhaps her right elbow, directly back into his solar plexus. You don't have to look. You really don't even have to aim. Just step back and drive that elbow back. Then she turns. The foot she stepped back with, now that's the leg that's facing him, and an open palm to the throat. Those two things alone pretty much will end almost any situation.
You're getting in your car.
If I'm at my car and I have my key in and someone grabs me and pushes me against the car, I just step back and I go down on his foot.
Your right foot is going down on the top of his right foot in that sensitive area.
Exactly.
Okay, and then what?
I turn into him, turn into him, take his throat, and then or otherwise I can go into his center with my elbow, turn, press him down and into the floor, and then I can also take a kick to the face.
And she can kick him in that area that we won't discuss on the show because it could be PG rated.
What you learn to do is find your targets, because I never know how that person's going to fall. If his face is there, I'll go right for the eye. I'll go for the throat. But I find a target.
Yeah.
When you're going into your front door, you use a key. You've got a weapon at all times. I can turn and slice him across the top of his forehead, but always move into him and he'll bleed.
This is great information for people to be aware of. Now, let's take an example inside the house. You're in your kitchen and there's noise going. Maybe you got a radio going, maybe the fan, and you're not aware that somebody has crept up behind you and they've grabbed you. What could you do?
When I'm grabbed, I will feel panic. But even if I'm like cooking with a spatula, that's my weapon. I turn back into the attacker, use that spatula across his forehead or his nose. That's my weapon. His stomach, anything. I can hit his nose with it, his throat, and then move through so I take him down to the floor.
Right.
I want to save my life. Right. And then if his foot's there or something, I'm going to break something. And then I'm going to get the heck out of there and call the police. And the other thing too is like, there's so many other weapons. If I'm not cooking, I'm just putting salt and pepper and different seasoning.
Sure.
That salt shaker is a weapon. I can turn back into him, and put it into his eye. Step through again.
So is the salt itself.
And the salt itself is a weapon. It burns his eyes.
Pepper would just make him sneeze, though. That's maybe not as good.
But everything in that kitchen is a weapon. Sure. It's like.
Well, yeah. What else?
Paper towel roll.
Right.
I'm doing something with the paper towels, and I'm starting to rip it off. I'll turn toward him and jab it into his throat. But I move into him. I've got to move into him to take his balance. Tinfoil, anything.
Yeah, that's great.
That's really great.
Yeah.
That's really anything that's in that kitchen is a weapon.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of soft tissue areas, the throat being one of the most common. Another great place to strike with the end of the roll is right over the end of the nose and the bridge of the mouth just above the nose. The corners of the eyes that are more accessible. These are all areas that are soft tissue areas that you can do some actual damage, but definitely cause harm. Stomping on the ankle, breaking the ankle, which might sound severe until you realize that you've been attacked in your own home and you need to make sure that they can't get up again and come after you.
Like you had the graduation class and we brought in the big guys you've never met.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
that was something. That was something. Two big guys at once.
Yeah. Multiple attackers.
Right.
And no matter how big the guys are or ferocious looking, and we tried to find the biggest,
they were
most ferocious with bad breath and stuff like that, guys that we could find.
And when they were done, you sent them back to the gorilla cage at the LA Zoo.
I did. And we're still feeding them properly. Yeah.
Lots of bananas. Yeah, no, that was quite an experience, I really have to say.
Yeah.
But then learning to apply this to other situations, like in the kitchen, we talked about, it could be something like a can that you pull off the shelf, or some little object, a little plastic coffee thing, whatever, anything you can access, you can grab, that's useful. What I loved was that you guys took us on an actual field trip where we did walk down the street and, there's a blind corner, watch out, somebody's going to be there. Here's a car. Here's the ATM. And for me, one of the very powerful exercises was where you took us each to bed.
Yeah, it really wore me out, but yeah, it was yeah.
Somebody is on top of you. What do you do besides going, oh my gosh, this nightmare is real? He's trying to rape you. He's holding you with two hands. At one point, he's going to have to release one of his hands to go access his own zipper or something. When he does that, as soon as he takes his hand off you, boom, he's only controlling you with one hand, and that's when you make your move.
As a woman, I'm not as big as half the men or anything else, but my strength is in my hips. So when that person's on top of me, I move with my hips and I'm on top of him.
The person lying in bed has the balance.
But you need to learn and take the time to have your body own it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just remembered something. It's really great. I've got to share this. This is great. It's one of my favorite things about it. As you know, Tanya, I spent many years working in the field of recovery.
Yeah.
So the therapeutic aspect of this workshop is a really powerful. A lot of people take the workshop because they've been assaulted. If they had an experience that they were willing to bring in, it's like a do-over, to reenact where they were victimized with these new tools that they had. A woman who had been carjacked in a brand new yellow Corvette with a guy with a gun got to do it over and completely subdued the guy. She didn't get hurt. She kept her car. The guy got imaginarily arrested. In fact, someone in the one you did had been raped, assaulted.
Yes.
And she brought that in, and we reenacted.
Yes.
We set it all up. She, with very little effort, using 2 or 3 of the techniques that she had learned, absolutely gained control of that situation. First of all, the courage it takes for someone to bring something like that they're so traumatized by into a workshop and share it, because it helps everybody. And then to actually face that situation again.
And this person did say, I'll never be a victim again.
Oh.
We make our workshops a safe environment.
Yeah.
They're limited in size, and it's all confidential.
I know you've mentioned before, but just the range of people that you have worked with to teach these self-defense classes include a woman who's pregnant, an elderly woman in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, there are these magical little stories. Like
Yeah.
there was a woman who took the workshop. She was a stroke victim, and her left side was almost completely paralyzed.
Yes.
By the end of the workshop, she had gained 45% motion on the paralyzed side. We had a mother and a daughter who did not have a really harmonious relationship, taken together, and where they do the tandem fighting section, you can learn to work together. The mother and daughter fought the same two big guys that we bring in from the zoo every time, and the two of them together. Well, let me put it this way: after they were finished, those guys actually just wanted to stay on the floor.
So you don't want to share this like at a party. Look what I can do.
Yeah.
This woman came home, her husband knew she was taking this, and she went in the alley to go in the back door, and he grabbed her. She didn't know who it was.
Oh, he was testing her.
He was messing with her, basically.
She turned, went into him, and broke his leg.
Oh, jeez.
And it's like, again, you're learning tools that are there to defend yourself.
Right.
You own them. You don't have to use them all the time. They're not for play. I learned to drive better.
Yes.
My awareness.
I
was at a stoplight, and this homeless guy reached inside the car on the other side to grab my purse. Just grabbed his hand, turned it over, looked at him, and I could have broken his wrist, and he just let go of the purse and ran away. Like when you're on an airplane, you are holding so many weapons. Your iPhone is a weapon. Your credit cards are weapons.
Some of the food
is a weapon, but a plastic fork on the airplane.
One of those syrup containers in a plastic.
Anything.
It has an edge, a sharp edge on it.
You can take care of yourself.
A lot of people that we've known over the years have been resistant to doing the workshop. As one of our friends said, if I go and focus on this kind of thing, I'm just inviting more of this into my life, more of this negative assault stuff. And I'm going to be living in greater fear, hypervigilance all the time. But that's actually the opposite of what happens. In fact, we live with less fear. And because we live with less fear, it allows me to be more open as a human being.
Yeah.
Let me just come back to you in just a second. I'm going to get your answer on that, of maybe some unexpected examples of how your awareness and knowledge you've used to evade some dangerous situation. Think about that for a moment. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. This is But You're Not Funny. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit our website, butyournotfunny.com. And we're back. I'm Bill Hoverston. This is But You're Not Funny. And my guests are Wally and Tanya Bagot, creators of the Boundaries/WAP program of personal self-protection. And before the break, I posed a question, how you've used your skills and your mindset to get out of a pickle.
Okay, here's something that probably no one ever talks about on this show in LA.
I'm sorry, it's censored. We can't cover that.
Okay, another thing is...
Go ahead.
God, this is so uptight. Anyway, is traffic, driving in traffic. I remember once that a guy cut me off, that I had to pull my little Nissan off the road onto the curb. So when I got back on the road and I was behind the guy, I actually honked at him to let him know that I was behind him. That was it. The guy let me pass him, then got behind me and followed me almost all the way home.
Ooh.
He was right on my bumper. I turned left and pulled into a parking lot. The guy whipped in behind me. I was hoping I'd lost him, and pulled his car in front of me so that I couldn't turn around, and got out of his car. I had really no option. He came at me and he threw a punch at me. This guy was probably 100 pounds bigger than I was.
Wow.
I've been doing this for almost 40 years. And when something comes up, I still feel adrenaline. I still feel fear. So I just stepped towards him with my right foot and I made with my right forearm like an up windmill circular motion as I stepped into him and brought my forearm down in the crook of his arm that was coming at me. Because he was moving so fast with so much power, that knocked him to the ground. And I did say to him, don't get up. And then I got back in my car and I backed out and I drove home.
Wow.
So I could have done many, many other things, but I could not get out of that situation. So I did the least that I could, because the truth is, for some weird reason, I wasn't angry at the guy. In other situations, I was once in a restaurant with a bar, and this guy came up and he started talking to the waitress while I was talking to her. I could see he was a little loaded, and I just said to him, if you'll excuse me, I'm talking. And he put his hand on my shoulder very aggressively.
Yep.
And I just said to the waitress, excuse me a minute. And I looked at him and I said, you don't want to do that. And I don't know what he saw in my face, but he took his hand off my shoulder and I turned around and walked away. If you can turn and walk away, if you can turn and run away, if there's a weapon involved, you're much stronger and much more powerful than if you get sucked into the other person's moment of dysfunction.
Just the power that you described, Wally, in your eyes. You didn't need to do a thing to him. Your eyes looked in his eyes and said, you don't want to do that. And that was enough to stop him right there. That's incredibly powerful.
I just had clarity.
Yeah.
These things are accessible to anyone. Or if you do have physical issues, it's all adaptable.
Yeah, and you learn within that time with the group of people you're working with, trust.
Yeah.
To let go.
That's huge.
That's so important.
Well, I had known you for a while before we did the workshop, but it gave everything in my relationship with you a whole different meaning.
Yeah. But another thing is to help people. Like there was a man that was in our driveway, and he was only like, I would say about 17. So I went up to him, he was lying down, and I didn't touch him. I just said, do you want to get up there calling the police, to come and pick you up to take you away? And he goes, oh, you're going to help me? I said, yes, just get up. I knew I could handle anything that he would do. And I took him to the homeless park. And all the people there was like 5 other men in wheelchairs, everything up. And I just said, can you help him? And they said, come to us, brother.
Oh, wow.
Learning these techniques, I'm not afraid to help.
That is such a beautiful story, Tanya. Just that, the compassion.
He just talked on the way. He said, my parents don't want me around anymore.
Yeah.
And they also know when to ask for help.
Fear is important. It serves a purpose. It can be a useful tool like any feeling without taking charge of reality. That's what this workshop helps people do.
And find the compassion in yourself.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you teach classes in person. Do you do any online training?
Right now, we're trying to design a virtual WAP workshop that reaches out to couples, families living at home together, where we can teach many of the same things that you learned.
Draw a map of your home and where the exits are, and
with your kids, they learn it too with you.
And
you make it fun and enjoyable.
We have great lessons, simple, easy, even including someone with a knife, even including someone coming up and sticking a gun in your face.
You don't fight the weapon, you fight the person. Wow.
Well, Wally and Tanya, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you
so much.
We've loved it.
Would you tell people how they can get in touch with you?
Sunset Sansoo, SANSOO.com. I also have an email, Master Wally Bagot, that's one word, Bagot, BAGOT, Master Wally Bagot at sunsetsansoo.com.
Okay, guys, Thank you so much, Wally and Tanya. I'm Bill Hoverston, and this has been But You're Not Funny podcast. You can check us out and subscribe for free on YouTube. And our website is butyou'renotfunny.com.
I'm funny. You're
He's
funny.
I'm not funny. I'm the one that's not funny here.
You're funny. No, she's funny.
No,
I'm not
she's
funny. Who's funny?
Who's funny?
Thanks for listening to But You're Not Funny. Please subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Bill Hoverston. You can see my work at billhoverston.com. It's been a pleasure.